So I wanted to show off the 45p, which has filled out a little bit. The various plants that I put in the top have been added to, and so there's different species in there, but it's pretty overgrown right now. Hey guys, Ty Struman here from Biotopia. I'm staying out of shot so I can just sit here and watch my lovely green neons bumble around this rather overgrown display. And if you recall, I set this up with the idea that the display would have plants growing up and above the waterline, and that's happened. But I've added a few species over time, and it's become a bit full up. So originally I started with some Rotala atra and some Lindernia rotundifolia. And it's kind of, it grew pretty well, but I wanted to add something else, a few more textures, different colors. So some Hygrophila polysperma cuttings ended up going in there. You can see they're doing very well. And some Hygrophila Araguae went in, and they're producing these lovely little flowers just above the waterline. There's also a polysperma of some kind, a persicaria of some kind, that is sold as a pond plant that is doing quite well at the back. But it's become a bit overgrown, as you can see. I realized that the Eleocharis acicularis that I put in when I set this up was Eleocharis acicularis mini, so it grows quite short. And I added a little bit of regular Eleocharis acicularis, the taller hairgrass, which you can see, but I'm not sure. I may take that out because it sort of disrupted a little bit the theme, but who knows, we'll see. I found a little lily bulb in the substrate in one of my other tanks. I put it in here, and that's turned into a Nymphea zenkerai, a lovely African lotus there. The fish are actually really enjoying the chaos. They like the shaded areas beneath the plants. They're doing really well there, which is great, but it's restricting light down to the carpeting plants, so I need to prune it back. Again, pruning is not something I enjoy at all. I suffer having to chop back my plants, but what I'm probably going to do is cut various bits out and then plant them in the top again and see if they start growing immersed. I threw a little tablet in there, a piece of a tablet. I really put it in for the Corydorus hasbrosus, the little salt and pepper cories, which are one of my favorite fish. But the green neons think this is great food as well, so they've come out to have some. The display otherwise is doing really, really well. I've had a few little algae issues. I went away for a week to France. I came back, and funnily enough, since adding the taller hairgrass, I had some sort of thread algae going on in there, which is interesting because there's such a large amount of plant mass that shouldn't really be nutrients available for algae, but I may have to look at my dosing regime and change that up. But otherwise, everything's doing very, very well. And Twin Star Light is perfect for this display. It's a 45p. I really like this size of tank. I didn't think I would. I thought I would struggle with scaping it, but it's actually a fun size. And if you said to me, you can only ever have one size tank for the rest of your life, it would probably be between a 60p and a 45p. And just, you can stick one pretty much anywhere, and expenses are less, but you can still produce an impactful display. So I'm just sitting here and enjoying the fish for a moment, because once I start pruning, they're all going to go and hide in the area behind the main wood structure there. If you remember when I set this tank up, it looked really, I don't know, a bit half and half. There was the big block of wood, and then there was empty space. But as the plants have sort of tangled out and reached over, they've changed the dynamic. So it's going to look a little bit, drastic once I've pruned it, but I think it'll grow back nicely, and the plants will grow back densely, and it'll make sure the crypts and the various carpeting plants get sufficient light. So I'm very sorry to disturb you, green neons and corys, but it's pruning time. So I'm not going to do a sort of blow-by-blow video of the pruning. I did that with the 75p, and it's not the most engaging thing to be watching. So I'm probably going to time-lapse the pruning process, but you guys will be able to see the tank changing over time. So we'll have a go at that and see how it comes out. Well, there it is. And as predicted, the fish have gone into hiding behind the wood structure here. Apart from the ottos. Well, now the otto's gone too. It doesn't look like I've done very much, but what I have done is everything that was sort of strayed too far from the main wood structure, I've pruned it. I've pushed it back into the structure here, apart from all the cuttings of the Hygrophila polysperma, because it just gets so big, so virulent. So what I've done is I haven't replaced those, which gives us more room for our Rotala hra and for the Lindernia up here, and also for the Hygrophila araguae. I have added a few days ago some Hygrophila pinnatifida, sort of pushed up against the wood structure there. So I'm hoping that that will sprout, and if that wants to run into the hairgrass, that's fine by me. I've not removed the taller Eleocharis for now, or the lily, mostly because I don't have anywhere to put them. So I'm just going to let them stay there for now. And one little brave cory has come out, so he can feast on that tablet whilst everyone else is still in hidden mode. I'm quite pleased that the interesting moss and the Bucephalandra that my friend Sid of Sidscapes gave me is doing okay, quietly growing there. Both of them got covered in some BBA, black beard algae, for a little while, but once the stem plant mass developed, that BBA actually largely disappeared. I mean, it's pretty much disappeared. And I think it just couldn't compete with all the massive plants in here, which was really nice to see it go away. I really like this little display. It's quite simple. I get a satisfaction of coming in every day and seeing if the Cryptocorm neuri, which we put in around the base of the wood and a couple up there, has put out any new leaves, how they're doing, whether they're developing. They were a bit shaded by the plants up here, but they seem to be growing steadily. The Marsilia is working its way through the hairgrass as best it can. That little cory is just hogging that tablet. You're missing out, the rest of you. So one of the joys of a setup like this is every time you get some cuttings, or if you see a plant you like, and especially when they're in the stores, still growing in their immersed form in the shops, you can just with some tweezers grab your bit and stick it in, and I think it works very well. And I've seen plants in nature growing in this way as well, sort of stem plants. The one I remember most clearly is stargrass, Heteranthera zostrifolia. So it was growing in these crystal clear streams in Brazil and in these rivers, and it grew from the substrate up, but bits of it would break off and drift, and these would then get tangled around the overhanging branches of trees or submerged locks, and then they would wrap around these branches and just start growing and then grow up and out of the water. So you would find that often alongside Bacopa australis. So you'd have these weird sort of bushes of the plant growing underwater, whipping back and forth in the current, and then you broke the surface and they were growing in their immersed form above the water, which is really, really cool to see. And you can see the little flowers on the Bacopa australis. I'll see if I put some images in for you guys to see that. Oh, the green neons are thinking about coming out now. They're not sure. There's a few who are trying to be brave. So we'll see if they come out. So yeah, you'll find stem plants growing like this. And most of the stem plants in the aquarium trade are not fully aquatic. There's a few exceptions, but most of them are actually marginal plants which grow in sort of alongside the bank and can grow partially submerged and partially immersed. Many of them are seasonal in that they can grow part of the year submerged during the wet season and part of the year immersed during the dry season. That's very common for the different kinds of Eleocharis that are found, and Bucephalundra as well, and the cryptocords. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick little video doing an update on this tank. It is growing really well. The other thing I should have perhaps mentioned at the beginning is no black background on this tank. I have a Chihiros light background, which I got from Riverwood Aquatics, which is run by the wonderful Pete. And I've used a coloured foil, a gradient foil, to give it this green effect. The light panel itself, you cannot change the colours, but I had a foil left over from the light ground, which I cut to shape, and I put on here. It's really brought the tank to life for me. But it was black. It was cool, but just on a small tank, it doesn't work very well. It sucks in everything, and I don't know. And this way, really just brightens the scene. The fish look great, silhouettes them nicely. It's not too intense that they are spooked. The green foil really helps that. Sort of green to pale yellow foil. And I got it at Riverwood Aquatics, as I mentioned. Wonderful shop. One of the advantages of buying these kind of products from Pete at his store, it's on his website. He has the PayPal or Klarna, pay in 3 installments option, which is really good considering some of the prices are, quite high-end equipment. This light ground, I think it's 100 and, sorry, with delivery, it's about £100, I think. Anyway, you can pay in 3 installments, especially on equipment such as lights, light backgrounds, filters, even tanks, which is really, really useful. And so I've got my light from him, and I've also got another Chihiros on the 60p, but we'll have a look at that next time, which I also got from Pete. The plants in this either were plants I already had, or I was given, or they came from Aquarium Gardens, from Dave, various cuttings that he gave to me or I bought, and none of them are particularly demanding. Everything is just flourishing. I've left it a little bit tangled in that back corner, just so the wood doesn't look too stark. Got some plant mass going on in the back. Also gives the fish more cover. It's raining a lot right now. I can hear the water dripping outside. It's really nice. I love to sit here. I've got this sort of futon thing here, and this tank is right up against it. So I can sit and just stare into the tank and listen to the rain, which is rather lovely. Anyway, I've rambled for too long. Corys are out. Green neons are still thinking about it. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this little update. And I will be doing another update on this tank as it develops. I may take that Eleocharis out. I'm going to take the lily out at some point, but let's see how it does for now. Anyway, thank you all very much and take care.